All right, well, welcome back. Today's going to be Box-O Gun Part 2, and that means we're going to start doing our Duracoating. We're going to apply our 4-color digital camouflage. Our price tag for the kit cost us $168.39. We'll put those price increases up there. I didn't put that in the build simply because this is not a necessity. This is purely aesthetic. So what all do you get with the kit? Well, in this case, we get our 4 different colors. We've got a matte clear coat. We get our hardener, and we get our stencil set. Now in this case, like I said, I wanted to go with something a little bit different. So I'm actually going to go with shades of red. We're going to see how that looks. But we got to start off with prepping. We also got to make sure we've got everything we need. So some of the other stuff I would suggest you have on hand. Duracoat also sells their True Strip Cleaner Degreaser. Keep some of this on hand. I use this on all of the plastic parts. Simply because the acetone that I use on all the metal parts is not always a good thing to use on plastics. A lot of thermoplastics simply melt when they come into contact with acetone. ABS is real bad about it. So again, I keep True Strip for all the plastic. I will use acetone to take care of cleaning up anything off of the metals. Good thing to have on hand is some mineral spirits. Not mineral oil, mineral spirits. When you use your kit here, your stencils, they're stickers, they go on there. As you're peeling these off, sometimes you will have residue left from the sticky part. The mineral spirits works wonders to get that off without leaving any residue. So that's why I suggest make sure you've got some on hand. I typically will buy these soft cotton spongy applicators. You can get these in the makeup department at Walmart. This is what I use. They're pretty rugged. They'll get the job done. Make sure you've got some good working rubber gloves with you. I'll buy the nitrile gloves and keep plenty of those on hand. I'll go through a dozen or so at least while I'm working on this project. Next, make sure you've got some Scotch-Brite pads with you because we're going to use this to scuff up everything. We don't want a nice smooth surface. We want a slightly scuffed up surface so that the Duracoat will bond better. You can also use some fine grit sandpaper as well. Either one of those will work. Just make sure you've got plenty on hand. The next thing, what I use is I will purchase 12cc syringes, and I will purchase some 3cc syringes. The Duracoat is designed to be mixed at a 12-to-1 ratio with its hardener. So for every one of these I use 1 cc of this. Makes measuring precise, and it makes it very easy. So good idea to have these on hand. You can purchase these off of Amazon. The cheapest way to do that is to actually buy the non-sterile. So they're not actually designed for medical use. They're used exactly for what we're doing here. So, like I said, the 12cc and the 3cc syringes come in great because most of the time I will start out mixing 3 of these and, of course, 1 of these. And that'll get me approximately what I need. We'll probably actually start off with 4 because we're doing the whole rifle to begin with. And we want to make sure we've got all of our parts lined up. A couple of the things that I do is I use dowel rods, and they've got a magnetic base on them. This gives me something to hold on to while I'm applying the coating. And then when I'm done, I can set it down somewhere. I don't have to worry about it falling over, damaging the coating I just applied, or getting any dust or dirt on it. And we've got that for our upper. For our lower. So we've got our buffer tube here as well. And our butt stock. Now with our butt stock, the actual butt pad on it itself, I've removed that because we're going to leave that black. Our hand guards, we've got a small dowel for that. I've also taken a paper towel roll and split it and kind of shrunk it down, slid it inside so that as we're applying our coating, it's not just going everywhere on the inside, and because you will never get a good solid coating on the inside. So we do that. And with our magazines, in this case, we've got our magazines fully disassembled. Use a small dowel rod on here. This will give me something to hold on to. And then in between coatings, I can set it aside, and again, not having to sit down on a surface where it's going to collect dust or dirt off of a surface. And we're also going to go ahead and coat our site. We've already put masking tape over everything we don't want coated on that. So that's where we're going to start off. The first thing we want to do is come in and we're going to start scuffing up our surfaces. And again, when we're scuffing up, it doesn't matter at this point if we're wearing our gloves or not, because we're going to come back afterwards with the acetone. We're going to remove anything, especially want to make sure that we're getting any of our body oils from our fingers off of our surfaces. Anything like that's going to make it very difficult for it to stick to. And basically, again, all we're doing is scuffing the surface. It's not, we're not trying to make a shiny surface. We're not trying to get the coating that is on here off. All we want to do is essentially break the surface. And we're going to do this on every part we've got. And in this case, of course, we don't need to worry with our threads because we're going to make sure that we mask those off. We're also going to make sure that we mask off our barrel extension. So we don't want any coating on it either. And we'll set that aside. Even small parts like this, if we're going to coat them, we want to come in here and just scuff them up. And some surfaces just do lend themselves better to a little bit of fine grit sandpaper. Use at least 300 grit or higher. You don't need to worry about, of course, the inside because we're not going to actively try to coat the threads. And we still want to scuff up even the plastics, because plastics can be very smooth at times. And again, we're just trying to create a porous surface so that it's a little bit easier for our coating to stick. One of the things you will notice is you'll get a lot of little green fuzz everywhere, and this is part of our cleaning up process. Like I said, we'll blow this off, and then we'll come back with acetone and wipe everything down to make sure that any of this we've got on here is off. We're not going to bother inside, but we do want to get this bottom flat piece so that as we coat it, it does kind of blend in a little better. In this case, we got just the perfect size dowel rod that it fits snugly inside, and it also helps seal everything off so that we're not getting a lot of overspray on the inside of the receiver. And we can kind of chuck this up into a vise and get down into the grooves of the Picatinny rail. And again, we're not going to actually do inside the mag well, but we will be getting inside of our trigger control group, our whole fire control compartment. But we do want to scuff these edges. All right, like I said, just scuffing up the surface. We're not trying to just sand everything down. We're not trying to get to bare metal. Now we're going to get some compressed air. We're going to blow some of this dust out of here, and then we'll start cleaning up with some acetone. And you're going to get some fallout from these little sponges. And again, once we finish it up, we're going to come back in and we'll blow off any residue, any dust, and go from there. And be careful, again, because this stuff will eat through plastics as well. And in a case like this, you can keep working without, just keep your fingers off of it. Okay, so the acetone and our other degreaser, it's going to evaporate real quickly, and then we'll get started. We've got everything laid out. We can put away the stuff that we're not going to need for the moment. So I like to use the Posh VL series. It's got a two-stage trigger. This allows us to control both the flow of our coating and the airflow. Some of the others are just a single stage. I don't like those as much. They don't give you as fine of control. Make sure if you're using an airbrush, you got to go to regulator. You don't want to get your pressure over about 10 psi from the regulator. Anything more than that, and it's just way too much for an airbrush. So, what I'm typically going to do is I want to start out with my darkest color, and in this case, that's going to be maroon. The instructions tell you to make sure you shake this for at least 3 minutes. And you can see what I've got here is a empty paint can. It's filled with foam, and I've got a cutout. It's actually designed cut out for the large size bottle. But with the slightly smaller bottle, we can put it in place. A little stuffing right there. And I've got this lined up with the handles. And put my cover on there, and we'll tap it down. Now, I'm going to admit, I'm a little on the lazy side. I'm not going to sit here and shake this thing by hand. So, I'm going to put it in our paint shaker here. I'm going to tighten it down. Like I said, we've got it lined up here. It's going to shake side to side. That's going to give us the full shake. And we're going to let that shake. All right, so now we've got our shaking done. We're going to open this up here. Now, we're a little bit different on this one. With these large ones, our syringe will actually fit right down in there. So sometimes we will have to might make a little improvisation here. So we're going to use the larger pot, and we're going to go And we're going to looks like we're going to use all of our maroon here. Keep in mind this very first coat we apply is going to cover everything. So this first color is always going to be the one we use the most of. So it's not going to give us quite a full 4. Now this particular size hardener, this top fits just perfectly in there. You can actually turn it over and do it just like you'd see the doctors do. Bring that right down to 3. We'll add that. And then we were at about 10, so we're going to bring this to about 0.8. And now we're going to make sure we mix this up thoroughly. All right, we've got our air pressure at about 10 psi right now. You just want to get started. So you can just kind of pick a spot. Remember, this is a 2-stage, so you can actually use it just to blow off any dust. And once you're ready, we can start our application. Again, the advantage here is we are looking at putting just a very thin tack coat on right now. Essentially, the goal is just to get it kind of sticky. So when we come back with the next coat, it'll adhere to the surface much better. And you probably won't be able to see much difference right now because, like I said, we're just putting a very light coat, and this is a very dark color. All right, so after the first coat, we're going to go right back and go over everything again. This time we're going to give it a little bit better of a coating, and it'll be much more noticeable. All right, I think we're going to clean up our painting equipment here. We're going to let this stuff set up for a little bit. We may even just set it outside in the sunlight and let the sun heat it up and help cure it even faster. We'll be back shortly. Okay, we're back, and now we're going to get started. We're going to make a few adjustments to the way we have our parts arranged. We're actually going to lock some of these together. That way, as we're putting our stencils on, the stencils will be on both upper, lower. Make these surfaces match up. And we want to make sure we've got gloves on. So we're going to start. We're going to go ahead and remove our, and of course we're not tacky anymore. We will put our upper and lower together like this. Put it in just as far as it's going to go. We're going to set that aside for the moment. And we'll take our pistol grip. We're going to put it in place. Now we're going to take our stencil kit. And it does give you a set of instructions here. And what you'll get, and of course you can't see it from your view right now, but as we start pulling these off and placing them, and there are different sizes and shapes. Okay, so as we take these off, we will place them on our weapon. I will start along this center line so that I am actually holding the upper and lower together with the stencil. Sometimes in this case, because of we've got this small pillar here, we're going to cut this across. We'll move this piece a little bit further back. And we're going to place these throughout our different parts here. And we're going to look for about 50% coverage, maybe even just a little bit more. And after that, then we'll apply our second coat, or our second color. little bit.
I request here from it. Hey, McCoy, you recording this tonight? Yeah? Here's for the last time that you didn't get it on tape. This is my request here for a couple of people. One of them's Ted.
Oh, God, really? Again, we're going to start out, we're just going to put a light tack coat on here. Okay, so it looks at this point like we're at a point where we're ready to shut this color down. We'll clean up. As soon as we get finished cleaning up here, we will remove most of these most of all of our stickers off of here, and then we will begin with our third color, and we will go from there.